Tanse, good afternoon. I'm Chris Nachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Liberal leader Mark Carney and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh were looking for votes in Saskatoon earlier this week, in a province where the Assembly of First Nations says there are 5 ridings that could be won by First Nation voters. The Liberals and NDP are pushing for a strong turnout from them. APTN's Rachel May was at both events.
The Assembly of First Nations just released a report showing that Saskatoon West is one of 36 ridings made up of enough Indigenous people that they could shift the entire vote.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh visited Saskatoon West candidate Rachel Lowen-Walker at her office last night to rally support. While Indigenous issues weren't directly addressed, Singh urged voters to consider the NDP as a party that supports people at the grassroots level.
And I want folks to know they have a choice. You can have hope. You can have someone that's going to fight for you, not the billionaires, not the CEOs, someone that's going to cap grocery prices to bring them down, ban corporations from buying affordable homes, invest in our healthcare, expand pharmacare, lift people up. That's us.
Liberal leader Mark Carney was at the Remy Art Gallery to speak to Liberal supporters. He said he wants to make Canada an oil and gas superpower, working in full partnership with Indigenous communities.
We will do projects only in partnership with Indigenous peoples, only in partnership with First Nations. Only in partnership with the provinces. And only in ways that gives back to the people of Canada.
Liberal candidate for Desnethi, Missinippi, Churchill River, Buckley Belanger, spoke about the importance of Indigenous participation in elections.
And it's more important to have Indigenous representation and being active in politics. Why? Why is it important now? It's because our water is ours. Our land is ours. This country is ours.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Now to the East Coast, where a private group chat has recently been exposed on social media. 2 Mi'kmaq councillors of the Millbrook First Nation have now resigned, and women are speaking out about the contents of that chat group. APTN's Angel Moore reports, and a warning, some of the details in this story may be triggering.
First, it was just, I was shocked at first, and then it turned into more anger, then it was more sad, and then it was just pure disgust after.
That is Jackie McNutt's reaction after she saw a private chat group posted on Facebook. The comments are graphic and sexually demeaning towards female community members. Here's just a few examples. Gotta marry one or kill one. Passed out sex is the best, eh? When they're passed out. The chat group has about 18 members from the Millbrook First Nation, including 2 councillors, staff, and business owners. Millbrook First Nation councillors Garrett Glode and Pius Knockwood abruptly resigned from their positions after they were exposed as participating in the chat group. Neither Knockwood or Glode could be reached for comment. McNutt is a mother of 3 young children and expecting another. She and her relatives were talked about in the chats.
It not only hurt me, it hurts my sister, and it hurt my niece and my mom to read all these. And you know, she never knew anything about this stuff, and other than what happened to me, and it broke my mother. So
Tia Gugu claims a friend showed her the chats, including comments about her and her mother.
Disgusting, appalling, degrading. I don't think any man should really talk like that at all. Especially about women. Like, Indigenous men are supposed to be our protectors and not our predators, you know.
Gugu says she told Millbrook leadership before she posted screenshots of the chats on Facebook, which have over 2,000 shares.
The more you let your stories out and be heard, the more we can shut these predators down.
However, Gugu has been accused of obtaining the chats by force, which she says is not true when asked by APTN News. RCMP say they are investigating that complaint about the use of force, plus an ongoing investigation into the chats themselves to see if anyone has been victimized criminally. Chief Bob Glode of the Millbrook First Nation posted a statement on Monday. I am deeply disturbed by these messages that are demeaning and disparaging towards women, men, elders, and 2SLGBTQIA+ population. I want to assure you that this type of behavior is not acceptable, and it's not a reflection of our leadership or community as a whole. This situation is being taken very seriously, and there will be formal and swift consequences. At the Nova Scotia Native Women's Association in Millbrook, the Resiliency Centre opened its doors to offer support. Sunshine Peter Paul is president of the Millbrook Women's Club. She was contacted by women named in the chats and is working to ensure people have access.
Be it counseling or talking circle, go to healers, putting in a victim impact statement, even if they want to go through the RCMP or just call helpline, I wanted them to know that there was supports here.
McNutt says she and her family have made statements to the RCMP and encourages others to speak out so justice can be served.
These guys, they gotta live with this for the rest of their lives, whether they care about it or not. Maybe they feel guilty, but the only reason that they feel guilty is because they got caught. They wouldn't, because it would still be just happening if those messages were not leaked.
The Nova Scotia RCMP said in an email to APTN News, there is an ongoing investigation and cannot provide any further information at this time. If anyone needs support, please call Hope for Wellness Helpline at 1-855-242-3310. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Millbrook First Nation, Nova Scotia.
The Correctional Service of Canada, or CSC, is investigating this week after staff at the Stony Mountain Institution near Winnipeg found more than $1 million in drugs. Large quantities of cannabis and THC concentrates were found inside packages on April 5th. The drugs seized have an estimated value of more than $1 million. CSC staff says it's now tightening measures to prevent any more contraband from entering, and the security staff will use ion scanners, drug detector dogs to search buildings, personal property, inmates and visitors. Anonymous tips can also be sent in to the CSC by calling 1-866-780-3784. Manitoba RCMP have made a number of drug trafficking arrests in the Barons River First Nation, located about 360 kilometers north of Winnipeg. On April 4th at around 4:40 a.m., Barons River RCMP received a report of an individual believed to be transporting illegal drugs into the community. Both the First Nations safety officers and the RCMP stopped a vehicle and found cocaine, crack cocaine, along with some money. A 32-year-old female from Barons River was arrested for trafficking and released for a future court date with charges pending. Then on April 8th, just before 8 p.m., Barons River RCMP received another call of suspicious activity at a home. When police entered the home, they found a 18-year-old male hiding in a bedroom closet in possession of crack cocaine and $15,000 in proceeds of crime. The investigation continues. A number of professors are calling for the removal of a land acknowledgement at UBC in Vancouver. That story when we come back. Plus, we continue to profile ridings where Indigenous voters could make an impact on who will be sitting in Canada's 45th Parliament. Here's a preview from TR Wheatley with a story airing next week from northwestern Ontario.
Tansa, I'm TR Wheatley here in downtown Kenora. We're here right now to talk federal election. This, of course, is the Kenora-Kiiwetinoong riding.
Love you, Tanya.
There are 6 candidates here. We're hoping to talk with some of them.
People always wonder why an independent. I just don't like party policies.
I was hoping to talk with the incumbent Eric Malillo.
Okay, and is this the best number to reach you at?
And then talk to people in general just to see what they have to say about this federal election.
That would be like really positive instead of negative.
Really done some Alabama-style voter suppression.
Welcome back. A group of University of British Columbia professors, along with one former graduate student, wants the BC Supreme Court to order the school to stop declaring or acknowledging its campuses are on unceded Indigenous land. CTV's Ben Milger reports.
Land acknowledgements are common at the start of events at all of UBC's campuses. The school even has a website explaining how to do it. A petition filed in BC Supreme Court by 4 UBC professors and 1 graduate student seeks a court order to prohibit UBC from declaring or acknowledging it is on unceded Indigenous land.
Many people find them uncontroversial, but land acknowledgements make a claim about who's sovereign on a particular territory, whether or not Canada is legitimately sovereign, whether the land is stolen land.
The petition cites a section of BC's University Act which says a university must be non-sectarian and non-political in principle. UBC's main campus is on the traditional territory of the Musqueam Nation, whose elected chief rejects the notion that land acknowledgements are political.
Absolutely not. It's just, it's actually mind-boggling that we're still having these discussions in 2025. You know, it's the truth. It's unceded territory. We don't have a treaty here in Musqueam.
The petition also takes issue with some of UBC's policies around diversity, equity, and inclusion, saying they also amount to political activity.
There's a chill on campus, and there's things that they want to say or that they want to study in some cases that they feel they can't under the current climate of UBC.
Across its campuses, UBC has more than 7,000 faculty members, and so far only 4 have signed on to the court petition.
Not only do I not think that principles that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion are political, I really think that they're best practices that are central to the core of our mission.
The university says it is reviewing the petition and will not comment while it is before the courts. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
You know, it's a sure sign of spring when a legendary grizzly bear known as the Boss has woken up from his slumber in BC's Bow Valley. Parks Canada shared this remote camera photo of the Boss. The park's wildlife staff spotted him in the lower Bow Valley on Monday afternoon. It's a good reminder that bears are awake and their activity will be increasing in BC. To give the bears room to roam and forage for food, there will be some area closures in Banff National Park. We now want to tell you about this week's 3 web poll questions. Over on our website we ask, do you think young people who are old enough to vote actually care about politics? You can answer yes, no, or unsure. Our second question we ask, did you know that there is a drug more than 99% effective at preventing someone from acquiring HIV through sex? Your answers are yes or no. And our third question, would you be more likely to vote for a candidate because they're Indigenous despite what political party they represent? Those answers are yes or no. Have your say by going to aptnnews.ca. The poll selection is on the right-hand side of the homepage. Longtime comedian Don Burnstick is up next to tell us about his 30 years in comedy. Plus, our Nouvelle Nationale host Kim Sullivan will also join us. Stay with us. On the east, St. John's 8, Charlottetown 7. Nain -6, Happy Valley, Goose Bay 0 and partly cloudy. Saquonay -1, Quebec City 5. 3 in Ottawa, Peterborough 3. Wawa 5, Thunder Bay 7. Churchill -4, Puckatawagan 4. 3 in Gimli, Dauphin 9. 8 in Regina, Yorkton 7. Stony Rapids -1, Buffalo Narrows 7. Sun in Grand Prairie at 11, Peace River 11. 20 in Medicine Hat, Red Deer 16. 10 in Vancouver, Bella Coola 10. Sand Spit 9, Prince George 7. Old Crow 0, Rock River -4. 7 in Wrigley, Norman Wells 1. Tuktoyaktuk -8, Palatuk -5. Chesterfield -6, Whale Cove -7. Clyde River -13, Aglulik -16. Our next guest is an internationally known comedian from the Alexander Cree Nation in Alberta. It's been 30 years since Don Burnstick started his comedy career. His show has evolved over the years with new material, but he is still asked to do his older, more classic skits when he performs in First Nation venues. He also provided keynote and motivational speeches where he talks about the importance of living sober without alcohol or drugs. On social media, Burnstick has also shared his health and wellness journey and has encouraged other Indigenous people to take important steps to living healthy. We recently spoke to Don Burnstick from Edmonton. Here's that interview. Don Burnstick, thank you so much for being here and being on the Noon Show. Your comedy career has now reached the 30-year mark. Did you ever think you'd still be doing this job today? And what was it like for you when you first started as an Indigenous comedian?
You know, I was so scared to try to do a 30-minute show, when I first started. And I just started doing it when I seen that first laughter. When I seen them look up and they're holding their stomach and they're wiping their eyes, I said, I got this. And I grew up on a res, and I know what it's like to be Indigenous, so I just hammered Indigenous humor. And this is before YouTube and social media and even cell phones came out. That's when I started.
Yeah, definitely paved the way. I also read that you were offered a pretty generous Comedy Central contract way in the past there, but if you accepted, you wouldn't have been able to perform for a lot of our First Nations audiences.
Yeah, I was offered a couple of things. Things were being mentioned like Saturday Night Live, Comedy Central, sitcoms and stuff like that. And I was just starting, and I was like, no way. Like I would have jumped into a pool in a deep end with no life preserver, and I would have had a very short career. I listened to my elders, and the elders said, stay with our people. So I stayed with our people. And now look at this, 30 years later, and I'm still going strong, And we have these careers. And I will go mainstream sometimes, like I'm doing a 30-year tour, but I always, my motivation is to help our people.
You've also publicly shared your health and wellness journey with all of your followers. Can you explain that journey and just how important we should treat our health?
Well, it was a very typical thing, like bad food train, inactivity, and I got really heavy, inactivity, and I was 250 pounds, just obese, all those issues with heart condition and type 2. I was full-blown diabetic, type 2 diabetic. So I went on a diet, and I went on a gym. I joined some gyms and went on fitness, and I got rid of my diabetes. I'm healthy, and I did it all without a pill. The doctors are really happy. They said you're the first one that has reversed it of their clients, the first one to reverse type 2 diabetes. And for me, I've talked to youth, and they said, I thought it was just part of being Native. You get type 2 diabetes. And we never had this. It was never part of our people. And so when I got it, I fought back. Just like alcoholism 40 years ago when I went into rehab. In 1985, I went to rehab. When nobody was going to rehab, I went to rehab. And the same thing, everybody's getting diabetes and getting sick and getting obese, and I decided to fight back, I remember going to AA meetings back in those days. Nobody was in AA, because that's all we had back then. There was no wellness, there was nothing. And now I'm going to the gyms, and I rarely see Indigenous people there. But we see this health, our health, lots of issues with our elders. I'm 62, and I really want to take care of myself. It's funny because I'm getting muscles now. I never had muscles before.
Yeah, for sure. The aunties are probably saying, "Oh, he's getting really swole now."
I made a career out of making fun of my flat bum, and now I have a gluteus maximus now.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time at Legendary, because I put on my sunglasses. I walk around, and people are calling me Ernest Monias now. So I'm getting up there now at Legendary status.
Yeah.
It's
Don,
pretty cool.
You also have evolved your comedy show over the years with important topics like sobriety, like you said there. I think of your previous show titled I Am Alcohol.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, I created that because back in the day, alcohol was a real big major issue with us. So I created this character, and I dressed him in black like Freddy Krueger. and I called him alcohol. And he was a spirit of alcohol, this evil spirit. And it was really hard to do. I had to really dig deep to bring out that wickedness of the alcohol spirit. And he was like a bad dream. And then in the end, there was a warrior fighting this spirit, and this warrior's calling the people, help me fight this thing. And the end of the show, there'll be a lot of tears, lots of emotion. And that's when the elders said, you got to make them laugh. You can't leave the people like that. You're talking about a past and trauma and issues. You have to heal them. So you make them laugh a little bit. And that's how I started my career. Because the alcohol play was really a traumatic a piece that I created. And it's still in there. I have it in a bag, and I'm going to release it soon. We release it online because it's really helped people. And a lot of treatment centers have it in schools.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, Don, really quickly, can you tell us when the public can see one of your next shows?
Well, I'm going on tour. My 30-year tour is starting in Vancouver 21st, and then every month I'm going to Saskatoon next, and then back to Alberta. So I'll be hopscotching, and watch for it. Don Burnstick 30-year comedy tour.
Don Burnstick, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and stay in touch. We'll get you on the show again.
For sure, man. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, guys. Keep rocking, you guys.
It's Friday, and that means that tonight at 6:30 Eastern, we air Nouvelle Nationale, our French language news show. Host Kim Sullivan joins us from Montreal to share what's on the show this week. Tansei, Kim.
Bonjour, Kristen. How are you?
I'm doing great. Kim, the elections are coming up, and I'm sure that's a big part of your show too this week, eh?
Just like everyone else, the talk of the town is the election. So we'll be giving our French viewers a comprehensive roundup of the Indigenous candidates, just like TR did for you guys on the English side. I also want to mention, though, that we will be watching carefully the French debate. For us, it's on Wednesday. We're going to have guests in studio for a pre and post debate show, just like you are doing on Thursday. So anybody bilingual or francophone out there that want to hear what they're going to say on the French side, tune into that on Wednesday.
Yes, this election has sure kept us busy. It will be interesting to see if there's a contrast in topics depending on the language, hey?
So many people say that there may be different topics talked about in the different languages, so we'll have to see. But I'm supposed to talk about tonight's show, right? That's why I'm here.
You're so right, Kim.
Well, on tonight's show, we do have a nation in Quebec that's thinking of dropping the colonial term Huron from their name and all official instances, and a community that officializes a regional dialect of their Indigenous language.
Which language is that?
It's called Newayun, and it's the same linguistic brand as the Inuimun. It's only spoken by about 100 people, but it's pretty cool.
Definitely some interesting content on the show, Kim. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. You'll have to watch En Français tonight.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Friday, April 11th. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, thank you for watching. We'll see you again next Monday, same time, same place. Excellent.